Good afternoon and welcome to a sellout Selkirk Stadium, home of the Ballarat Blitz. My name is Hannah Kuha and joining me this afternoon is Matt Blomley, former Australian player, coach and life member of the Victorian Men's and Mixed Netball Association. Matt, welcome and so good to have you here at your own home stadium, Ballarat local. What does it mean to have the world's best here at your backyard stadium?
What a terrific opportunity this is for Ballarat hosting this day and, in fact, tomorrow for the Ballarat Blitz. It's great to get elite netball here in what's a relatively new stadium, and the crowd is filing in, expected to be a little bit busier for the Vixens game, but geez, they're going to be up for some great netball across the day, aren't they?
Yes, it is a sellout. 3,000 tickets already sold, and tomorrow I've heard there's about 20 tickets left. So if you want to come down to Wendouree, make sure you get those tickets because it's going to be an awesome weekend of netty. Speaking of some great netball, we've already seen your men's reserves. You're the assistant coach of that team head up the warm-up match to this one. How are you feeling about your team's prospects heading to Nationals this Easter?
Yeah, it was great for the opportunity to show the exhibition that is men's netball at the moment. Not a lot of people are always aware that that exists. We are getting more coverage as the years go on, but it was great to see our team just have a good hit out and get a bit more of the familiarity of what that Australian Championships is like. So they trained yesterday, they've got game today, and they'll have another game tomorrow. Unfortunately not here, it's an exhibition match as well, but it was a terrific crowd and some good netball shown for people who've probably never seen it before in some cases.
Well, a great opportunity to make yourself an acquaintance of the great game of netball. Of course, this weekend is made possible by the support of the City of Ballarat and the Victorian Government. And so on behalf of Netball Victoria and the Melbourne Vixens, we would like to acknowledge the Wadawurrung people as the traditional owners and custodians of the land we're on today, and pay our respects to elders past and present. So we've got just under 3 minutes until the first whistle. Let's talk starting sevens. So for Giants, we'll start with them. Goal shooters Sophie Dwyer, goal attack Kelly Singleton, wing attack Chelsea Pittman, centre Jamie Lee Price, wing defence Sam Winders, goal defence Jodie Ann Ward, goalkeeper Tilly McDonnell, and the subs today Gina Crampton, Erin O'Brien, Monica Otai and Amy Sleeger. Matt, some thoughts from that starting seven? Is that kind of what you expected to see?
Well, given that it is a pre-season hit-out, often the teams will try a couple of different things. They'll also use training partners at times to fill in some roles, especially if there's some niggles floating around. So certainly no surprises, I don't think. They're showing a couple of new combinations for us, and should be good to see the likes of a Jodie Ann Ward in with a Tilly McDonnell. I think that's going to be an exciting combination just there, in particular in defence, and then the veteran Pittman making an appearance for the Giants as well.
She is a stalwart of the league. And to the Adelaide Thunderbirds now. Goal shooter Romelda Aiken-George. Goal attack Lucy Austin. Wing attack Georgie Horges. Centre Taylor Williams. Wing defence Latanya Wilson. Goal defence Matilda Garrett. And goalkeeper Shamira Sturley Humphrey. On the bench Lauren Frew, Molly Watson, Laura Sherian, Tyler Orr and Sophie Casey. Similar situation with the T-Birds perhaps. They're the reigning premiers, but a few different combos.
Yeah, we did see a slight exit from their team with the new Mavericks in particular come in and take, obviously, one of their goals from last year, but to fill that goal shooting spot with Romelda Aiken-George, you've got no slouch whatsoever in that role. We've seen her deadly for so many years for the Firebirds, and then obviously made a different appearance down at the Swifts, but Thunderbirds for a fresh opportunity in the pink. And I must say, Georgie Horges as a wing attack is always very exciting to see, and Matilda Garrett, hasn't she taken on the Thunderbirds role when she's been there in defence? She's really had a crack since she moved on from Magpie's training partner role.
Yeah, it's fantastic to see talent coming through pathways. Of course, so much talent within the Netball Vic pathway. As we make a start here, first centre pass going the Giants' way. We'll see what Jamie Lee Price has in store. She's such a confident player in this league. Giants patient, playing it back already. Using Dwyer out the ring.
Well, a bit of miscommunication on that feed, and this can be part of it as new combinations come together. Slight miscommunication when they're playing those practice matches.
Of course, a few different teams playing a couple of scratchies before this one. The Giants themselves heading off to Griffith. They just had a game beating the Mavs by 2. Wagga Wagga, Mavs as well, and the Firebirds before that. So still some nerves from both teams as we see that ball fly out of court as well.
Yeah, expect that to ease pretty quickly. These combinations have trained together for a while at the training, but the intensity of an actual match play situation does mix it up.
Giants patient until the T-Birds. They're known for that strong defensive take. As some early clashes on the floor, we love to see that. Giants try and put that foot to the metal. Price, some confusion. She takes it back. Giants using the front sweep. Dwyer.
And no hesitation on that one. And that's what we expect from Dwyer. That good mid-range, no hesitation whatsoever, and that's why she is in that goal shooter position.
T-Bird centre and all under the post. No use when you've got Giants 3-on-1, so strong in defence. Pittman.
Yeah. Take a pick of who was going to pull up that intercept. It could have been any of them.
And such a convincing take from Pittman. 2-on-1 and shows that strength through her age. She's been around a while and she knows how to take a strong ball. Giant centre. Price to the top of the ring. And again, 2-on-1. Is this a different setup that you'd expect to see, Matt, having two defenders double teaming Dwyer as goal shooter?
They're probably looking to mix it up, put a bit more pressure on Singleton to really force her to go to post a little bit more, make Dwyer really come out that bit higher. And as you saw, as she's pushing out towards that super shot region, not quite as confident.
We'll keep an eye on that one as the hot hands, big take. Big ball, big take. Aiken George under the post. Classy from Williams to get it there. Austin lines up, scores. I think Lucy Austin, she's a proud South Australian, so much talent. It's going to be fantastic to see her warming up into the game. Looks back to the transverse, so much patience. Aitken at the top. Goalers trying to body on each other. Set some screens. They get there eventually.
And that's a tall goal circle that we've got in there between Austin and Aiken George. Really makes it tough for those defenders, but geez, they can get up there.
Mid-range Dwyer. She's comfortable here. Just licks it in and out. Defensively, Giants with the one-on-one. Price, she's got her eyes up. Long leash between her and her opponent, seeing if she can pick up some ball. But it doesn't matter. Austin through the mid, trying to split and draw and use that tall goal shooter, as you said, Matt. So fantastic when you've got the height of Aitken George. And
look at that strong pull down there from McDonald. Really coming into her own this last couple of years as a goalkeeper and really wants to that ball every single time. Make no mistake, Ward as well put a lot of pressure on that. She gives up a few inches in height, but makes up for from the vert and the pressure that she applies constantly. And watch for a few more turnovers come from her.
Yeah, some short balls from the Giants. Defence, bit of pressure on them. Price looks laterally down the mid. Having to stay really patient, the Giants, but when you've got such competent shooters from mid-range, takes the pressure off, doesn't it?
And she looks so much more confident on that shot, did Dwyer. Really turned straight to post, did not hesitate, and that's the shot we expect.
Austin, not in doubt. Oh. Awkward footwork. It didn't look like there was any contact in that one, Matt.
No, unless there was something that came slightly before it that threw her off balance. But just trying to really plant that foot's what caused that footwork. Maybe if she continued the run on, she could have kept that going.
Giants under a lot of pressure to break through the wall being set up by the T-Birds. Having to reset, looking back for a triangle on the line. When you're getting pressured at the line for real estate, so impressive from the T-Birds.
There was so much pressure on. They'd done really well at keeping the entire Giants unit across that far side of the court. You saw how much there was 8 players on top of each other. As we do now see that tactical timeout that Suncorp Super Netball brings us.
Only 5 minutes down and 10 to go. Of course, we're playing four 15-minute quarters, just like you'll see in the SSN season ahead. If you were perhaps sitting in the T-Birds bench, you've come into this match as reigning premiers, but just down 1 goal, what would you be thinking if you're putting your Coach Matt hat on?
What I'll be thinking is we're building a new set of combinations here. It is a different side. Yes, we've got premiership players involved, but as soon as you throw out the likes of a brand new goal shooter, it does create a very different lineup for them. But the pressure that they've been putting on defensively has been great. Probably need to see a little bit more communication in that circle. As you said earlier, they were playing a lot of 2-on-1, and maybe need to be sitting off that if we're going to play the 2-on-1. A bit more pressure, direct. But Giants, they also just need to clean up their space. And I dare say that's part of the reason for a bit of a time here is just saying, hey guys, what is our setup? What are we going to do? As we just see the really strong replay of Ward, and that's what she's so known for. Is just incredible rebound.
Such a ferocious talent, and of course giving Lucy Austin many headaches under the post. Look, Austin, she's a great shot, and I guess as a defender, that's what you have to do, put them off, use that physicality that Ward is so strong at.
And it is deceptive when you've got that slightly shorter defender in there, that you lose their arms, you lose their height, the ball gets released a little bit lower, gives the opportunity.
Play resuming, that's a 2-minute timeout done, and speak of the woman, Jodie Ann Ward, stunning intercept, keeps her footing. She's got the ball again. That is some clever work.
And then a part of almost every aspect of this next play. Tough bring in though from Price. It was well kept in.
Such a good take, using that triangle, generating opportunity, and now 2-1 in the ring. Ooh. Lucky to retain possession there, because it looked for a second that Garrett would be sneaking through, but
just need a little bit more on that ball, I think, and it would have been more convincing. Garrett wouldn't have had a chance to get in hands.
Singleton with the lob, and such an artfully placed ball. Pittman, she's all class, and that 2-handed lob just nailed the placement. Great minds.
Occasionally think alike.
As Aitken George puts up a strong hold at the top of the circle, gives McDonald a lot to think about. She's trying to hedge, almost covering the pocket ball. Austin puts the block on, gives Aitken George room, even though she comes down with that elbow.
And make no mistake, she will rip that ball in strong every time. Aitken, she's got so much experience. You cannot discount what she's going to bring to that Thunderbirds lineup in any way.
As wayward ball swings across the court, it bounced past to the top of the ring. It was brave from Price, but that's her trademark. She is a brave player. Pittman, strong on the take, takes time to reset.
And that's that little bit of experience from Pittman there. Just going, I think we just need a brief moment, relax, reset. And it's as simple as that little walk-off for a moment on the hit to just come back.
T-Birds again. Aitken George with the hold at the top. And that is a classy delivery from Williams. Really poses the challenge to McDonald. What are you going to do about that strong hold? Because we know Aitken George, it's no secret that that's her bread and butter, that strong hold. So we'll have to see what the T-Birds serve against it.
And have a look at what the setup has been ahead of that. McDonald is doing mix-up between sitting in behind, coming in front. Probably needs to then mix that up a little bit more again of that hedging and coming off to just throw a bit more doubt in the mind.
Yeah, she's been chatting to her defensive teammates the whole time. Animated hand gestures, and now she tempts the ball over the top. The switch doesn't work. Aitken George under the post.
And we have seen a change for the Thunderbirds. It's Lauren Frew has come on into the goal attack bib. So you can see that Tanya Obbs on the bench just having a little chat to Austin there, maybe just to work out a bit of a change. And probably a pre-planned situation as well, given it's coming into the last 6 minutes of this first quarter.
T-Birds, we saw Giants trying to wind down the clock, just take some time, but that's the privilege of having the scoreboard advantage. T-Birds want to get this ball moving, and that move it they do through the hoop.
Yeah, just the 2 goals down at the moment, 9 goals to 7. Plenty of time still left in this first quarter, and obviously when the super shot comes involved, we've seen margins diminish very quickly.
Some patience needed by the Giants' back line. Wing defence, goal defence being used heavily as the ball's coming down the court. Dwyer up the gut, so that's a strong move.
The pressure on the outside from the Thunderbirds has been great. Despite the fact that the Giants are that little bit ahead, the pressure from Thunderbirds, it's persistent, it's consistent as well. As we do see timeout this time called by the Giants. A quick one.
Teams really using these 5-minute blocks to consolidate. It's not a secret that in a 15-minute quarter, often you have the 5 minutes at the start to wear yourself into the game. Next 5 minutes, another focus, and the final 5, another focus. Would you expect teams to be using these timeouts as a break in momentum, or is it simply tactical at this point of the season?
It's probably a little bit of both, in the sense that they're not overly worried about some of the tactical aspects, but they need to get in the habit for come season time that those timeouts are going to occur and we need to be able to switch back on. It's also a good opportunity to just get a quick message across, as we know that sometimes you just want to see a team grind it out, don't you?
Yeah.
See, work it out there. But it is a luxury that Super Netball has of being able to call that timeout and just go, hey guys, this is now what we're going to do. Maybe revisit a focus. And if they have been breaking it up into that clear 5-minute blocks, as a number of coaches do, it's going, right, we're now onto this phase, this part of it, this is what we're going to do. And in this case, it might be switch it up a little bit, pick it up, now we're going to have our two-pointers going on.
Seeing the pictures of the Giants camp, Coach Julie Fitzgerald looking to be the one who's providing most instruction, but Joe Harton also jumping in for a few words towards the end of this 2-minute timeout.
And I have no doubt that we'll see Joe Harton in a coaching position somewhere in the future. She's, through injury at times, has obviously been a very valuable player for England and for her Giants, but obviously got the tactical mind there, and people do listen.
And an unfortunate ball off the centre pass. Williams just not delivered well enough. Giants get hands to it and take the ball down the court. Winders. Great options at the line. And that is super shot time. Giants making no... They take all of 15 seconds to launch that one. And umpire calling just a halt in play, but we're back.
I think it was just making the call going, I'd only called a normal goal. It is indeed a super shot that's occurred.
That's all right. It's a pre-season for players and umpires as well. Of course, so many rule changes over the summer.
And it is different rules often than what they're doing when the likes of Tim Marshall and Kate Wright doing local state league competitions. They have a couple of different rules in there, so it's getting their heads back around it as much as anyone. So shout out to both those umpires for this game.
Contact call given away. Aitken George again holding. She wants that real estate close to the post. Just pushing Ward up as high as she can to suck the space down back.
And curious that they didn't look at the 2-point shot there, given that it was a penalty as well, and you're in that last 5 minutes, very much opted for that clear 1-point option.
As they look to reset it, maybe they heard they might have heard what you were saying there, Matt. Potentially look at the 2-point shot, but it's home and hose for Aitken George, just the 1-pointer.
And this is the tactic I think people forget about when you've got both your super shot and your normal traditional goal in there as well, is sometimes if you can guarantee a few single goals in a row, you're dropping down that margin, whereas if you're missing a few super shots, the other team's still scoring.
And how's the flight? Super impressive from Garrett. She's backing herself.
It wasn't just Garrett there, though. It was Wilson in, who would have been an option, probably pick that up.
Garrett again flings it to the pocket. swing. And using Aitken George as the decoy until you need her at the post.
And a rare miss from underneath the post. Oh, footwork though.
Oh.
Just on that rebound, I think, thought her landing foot was slightly different than what it was.
Protesting it to the umpire too, whilst the Giants don't waste a second. Getting it down into their attacking third. Pittman, short delivery.
And look at this tactic in attack there from Giants, where often you tell your mid-court not to be on top of each other, but they were creating a really clear space for the feed to come to be able to set up that 2-point goal. Unfortunately, though, spills over the line.
You get the feeling that perhaps the Giants are more willing to take that 2-point shot with, I guess, a shorter goaling end. Feels silly saying they're very much over 6 foot, but a shorter goaling end, happy to take that longer shot.
Well, not that true target, as we probably call it, in the likes of an Aitken, and if you're going back to some other players of the past, Van Dijk, a Bassett, where they're really a clear target. We've still got a great target that is Dwyer.
Yeah,
but it is a bit more of a moving setup, isn't it?
183 centimetres, she's tall, but you see Aitken George got a head on her pretty much. As the baseline drive, I like that. They fling it to the pocket, just trying to use those angles to free up Aitken George.
And the work that's actually going on in that circle from both defence and goal is really trying to create something. Defensive work in swaps, and yes, they're sitting on the body a little bit now, but I reckon they're coming off a little bit more, which is creating a bit more doubt.
Nice work from Williams, getting the hands off the centre pass. Loopy ball, and you can't do loopy balls over the best defensive lineup in the competition right now.
They are flyers, these defenders. They're going to have a go at everything.
Yeah, Wilson very comfortable to have a go at that one. Just as the Giants are very happy to have a go at the super shot. The 2-pointer. How easy is that from Dwyer?
And make no mistake, Shamira Sterling-Humphrey was all over that shot. That's a fantastic goal.
Pressure from the Giants. Double team. Lucky to not give away a contact call, as again, Aitken George, it wasn't as convincing a hold, that one.
But the rip-in was so good. She knew that she wasn't in the best position that she needed to be. Still went strong, almost fended off with the backhand just to hold position. Fantastic.
8 seconds to go. Potentially one last goal from the Giants. Dwyer, she's so close to that edge of the ring, pops it up and...
Just off balance for that moment, wasn't she?
And that'll do us. It's the Giants leading at quarter time, 15-11, in front of a sell-out Selkirk Arena here in Wendouree, Ballarat, home of many good netballers, including Matt Blomley, my co-commentator today. Matt, let's talk through these quarter-time highlights.
Oh, that was that moment that we saw earlier where Jodie-Ann Warren, really strong attempt at the rebound, unfortunate to get the contact. And just shows the height difference in that circle. Look at the Austin Aitken. I mean, Austin looks short there. And
it's quite bizarre.
I can assure you she is not a short woman.
Even Jodie-Ann Ward, 178 centimetres, 29-year-old Jamaican. She's such a force in world netball, but yeah, 179 centimetres. You wouldn't think it with the might that she shows in these picks.
So dynamic, so valuable, and I think it's that doubt. We spoke about that earlier. She puts doubt in mind at times where people can think they can give balls that they really shouldn't be. But she makes a difference. But I tell you what, I thought Shamira Sterling-Humphrey was probably a little bit quiet in that quarter from what we're used to seeing from her. Garrett was the standout of the defenders in their Thunderbirds end, but expect a little bit more from her, from Shamira Sterling-Humphrey. She is the captain. She will step up a bit, I feel, in this next quarter.
Who else are you expecting more from heading into this second term?
Look, I'm expecting Dwyer to actually have a bit more of an impact. She started as that quarter went on. While they were finding her, she was really hesitant with her shot, I felt. As the quarter went on, a bit more confident. I expect her to start sinking a few more. Also expect Pittman to start finding her game a little bit again. The combination of her and Price, they've obviously been training together. I think that will build a little bit. Price can be quite deceptive. I would consider her more of a defensive mid-court, and she's so strong as a defensive mid-court that sometimes she forgets to link in into attack. So again, captain, expect a little bit more to come from her.
Yeah, you speak of Chelsea Pittman, who we can see in the centre of the screen right now. She's been around a few different netball clubs, former Adelaide Thunderbirds co-captain before she was dropped. She's come back in a few different franchises, and now as a replacement for Hay, who is out with that troublesome hip. What are you expecting to see from Pittman and the impact that she has on her other teammates? As we've spoken, she's a more experienced player. She's been around a while. What impact do you think she's going to have on the Giants mid-court throughout potentially the year if she gets the call up?
I think it'll be a combination of things in that her experience in her actual playmaking. We know that she can be very creative. She can be dynamic at times. She will use her experience and smarts, but also just to talk around to probably some of the younger players in the unit that they've got overall and help bring in some of the other aspects that they might not be so used to.
We also saw in the background there Gina Crampton, speaking of experienced internationals, former Silver Ferns captain, and now she's found her way to GWS via moving to Australia with her partner. Do you think we're going to see some bench players? What do you expect Julie Fitzgerald to be doing with the talent she has in the rest of the list?
I'd imagine she'll be rotating pretty well across this weekend. But whilst they're trying to build combinations up, this is the opportunity for these franchises to really showcase what each of their players they've signed are going to do. And it's a chance for those players to say, hey, I want to be part of that starting seven, or I want to have my role for you. I don't want to just be sitting there on the sideline.
Speaking of people who want to be a part of it, check out the crowd that is building here in Wendouree. Of course, the Suncorp Super Netball season kicks off on Saturday the 13th of April. The Vixens taking on the Melbourne Mavericks in round one in their first ever derby on Sunday the 14th of April. Crowd here is mostly Vixens supporters, so I'd urge everyone to be buying those tickets because all Vixens home games are on sale now. Head to melbournevixens.com.au or Ticketek to book, and of course the memberships are also on sale. Head to that same website to join yours. Grab your membership and join the hunt in 2024. Seen a few other supporters of other teams, but it is a predominantly Vixens crowd. Matt, do you have a inkling of who's going to be taking the premiership this year?
I think it's still very early days. With changes that happen to Thunderbirds, I don't think you can still write them off with the change in target. Mavericks are quite an unknown in their very new side. And obviously we want to see our very own Vixens with a couple of changes there. See how they go.
That's right. As we look to get this second quarter underway, we're 5 seconds off. T-Birds with the first centre. Relatively unchanged sevens. But some strong hands from the Giants. This is perhaps an impressive change in the defensive lineup, just taking note of attacking the ball, much as the T-Birds have done to them. But again, strong hold. Similar story, Matt. That
very strong setup that we expected and saw from the last quarter. Expected a bit again as Frew starts this quarter for the Thunderbirds. I'm guessing they want to see those combinations flow through and see how she goes starting this time rather than coming off the bench.
Giants having to make some decisions. No clear-cut balls until that one, but a small push in the back.
Yeah, probably get it out of jail free card there with that contact. It wasn't a great place ball, and you'd expect those two to communicate quite well with where they want, and as the indication just goes there in the background, probably want it a little bit further out. Fantastic long ball though.
McDonald having a fly. It's impressive. Ward right on the back of that rebound. You get the sense they've just got to throw the kitchen sink at this one. It's such a hard combination to master. Pittman searching. Some single leads or not many leads at all for the Giants. Pittman trying to use that fake and create some options off that back line.
And you can see the way these Giant goalers are working at the moment. They're very much trying to work the one-on-one combinations. They're not working any major switches, and that must be a clear message that they've had come through. This is the game plan we're going to go for, at least for the start of this quarter.
You're seeing this play alone. Some parallel leads. Singleton just echoing the same pass, but that passage ends in a goal for her.
Yeah, very clear pattern starting to be run. We'll see if that continues across the quarter.
T-Birds having to cope with the pressure put out really high by the Giants defence. Perhaps the message at quarter time might be we need to support the back line.
That was so close to being a step before that contact occurred. Jamie Lee Price, she knew the contact was coming. Lucky that the feet didn't quite go. The beautiful finish. Doesn't she have such a lovely shot to watch, Dwyer?
Great finish and great setup by Singleton. Setting the screen to make sure it's a clear one-on-one as she looks to sweep again. Bit more communication from the goalers.
Yeah, they're forcing the Thunderbirds into really playing more of a one-on-one here. We saw in that start of the first quarter that it was a bit more of two-on-one going on. So Singleton's been tasked with make Garrett accountable.
Overload from the T-Birds until the ball's launched in. It's very confident off the back line.
Tilly McDonald just copping one in the mouth as part of that contest. She's such a strong player. It was such a strong contest, but Aiken, so good.
Having to suck in the deep ones there. Price looks wide. So much congestion along that sideline for the Giants. Really needing Price to offer some punchy leads, but nothing punchier than that from Singleton.
And that was a beautiful drive. She used her speed. She found the goal line beautifully. But the release from Dwyer was just spot on. Oh! And who have we mentioned how many times today? Jodie Ann Ward.
Not in Ward's house, she says. Fly through the middle of the third. She's fantastic at that one. Again, Giants putting a lot of pressure on around that transverse line. Because this is the ball that they're so just in trouble to defend.
And that turn, that release, Hoare just did not hesitate. She saw it was on, got the high release, fantastic timing. Very hard to defend that.
Pittman trying to marshal the troops, use the screens, she says. As again, take some time to get the ball back. Set up some communication, calling Singleton forward before calling back to the pocket. A lot of leadership.
And you saw the hesitation on that initial pass from the top, probably because the short pass rule has slightly changed. And whereas they would have given that last year, not a hesitation. Fantastic intercept there, though, Price. And now just making sure that don't get called for that one because there's got to be a little bit more space involved this year.
Sterling initially with the intercept, but just off balance. Garrett, clear vision, and how's this dominance onto the ring, and the take is just, you just can't beat it, Matt.
Whilst the score is 21-16, these feeds now from the Thunderbirds are really going through a lot more smoothly. The timing is fantastic, the release is spot on. That's what we want to see more of.
Loose ball from Pittman, she releases the lob, doesn't work. Giants trying to clog up space in the middle third.
And you've got to be careful as the side, getting these couple of contacts in a row, that it doesn't result in being penalised for a deliberate delay or a slowing up tactic.
Aiken George she sets up play really high at the circle and then shuffles back, trying to take Ward with her, which she does.
And she very much knows how much room she's got in behind her or in front of her at any point in time. That is why she's using that. Some taller goalers, they're not so aware of how much room they've got in behind. They get pushed into the wrong spot. Not Romelda Aiken-George.
T-Birds again patient, looking for George, but change up, got a baseline drive.
And a shot there from Frew. No hesitation, beautiful left-handed release. And it's always good when you've got a tall target for a goal attack to jump in and throw in a few goals. Sharing the workload makes the pressure so much harder. Oh, fantastic effort there.
And onto the wrong team bench. Just a bit of inter-competition bonding.
And then see that release. This is the thing. You don't have to wait for the player to be back on court anymore. So as a defender, you've got to be so quick back on.
Quick they are, the Thunderbirds, into Aiken-George. Joe Harden just still giggling on the sidelines about that off-court mad sprint as we have a timeout 90 seconds on the clock.
And this is definitely a tactical one. Have a look at the score. It's all of a sudden 2 the difference. And we've mentioned just before about the Thunderbirds really starting to take control in that attack end. As we see the ball being swung around there for the Singleton setup.
There's just so much pressure going on. You see Tilly Garrett checking her feet there. She knows she has to have such a dominant hands-over presence with these super accurate giant shooters.
Thunderbirds, they'll be going, guys, this is working the way we want it to. We're finding some timing and some rhythm in attack. And by the look of it, they will be looking at making a change in the goal in end to continue that happening.
Lucy Austin just putting some shots up now in this timeout. We might see her swing back on. We'll keep your eyes peeled for that.
And Giants will be telling them to just clean up what they're doing in defence, sort out their attack a little bit. They start getting a little bit messy, a little bit wayward with some of the passing, getting drawn really wide and deep. Go back to some clear messages, a clear play, and have no doubt that Coach Julie Fitzgerald will have something up her sleeve just there.
As she always does. I laughed that Jo Harton, she told the Giants media team after the Griffiths practice match that the team's in a bit of a rebuild stage, but you'd say that they have somewhat of a established team, very established players. Perhaps the goaling end has seen some consistency as well. We'll see how that experience lends with 8 minutes to go in this second term.
Rebuilding, such an interesting term in sport, isn't it?
Yeah, that it is. As Austin does come back on, taking off the goal attack bib.
Oh, look at those opens, though. Aiken doesn't want it from there. I think she can sink it. I don't know why she didn't go post. She wanted the initial offload to Austin, which is fine. But turn to look post. It's well within her range.
As Aiken's so physical, setting Lucy Austin up there. The 2 hands direct on the hips, hold it there, and she knows exactly what she wants. She gets it back, and nice goal.
And I don't mind Lucy Austin being out of goal attack either. As a tall like that, she can always go back and shoot her as a hold-up. But create something just a little bit different target. A lot for the Giants defenders to think about.
You speak about creating something. Both Giants mid-quarters getting held really high near the transverse until Pittman makes that pocket lead and into Singleton. It's a great combination, but the Giants really lacking that drive and punch.
And you need that from Pittman. She's the one with the wing attack bib. It's her job really to be doing the dominant feeding and driving there. Price will slot in. She'll obviously do some great feed, but Pittman needs to be taking control. So Singleton can be doing her job coming into the circle, taking the attention away from Dwyer.
Speak of someone doing their job, Tilly Garrett back on court. Ball's back in her hand. She looks confident.
Yeah, Lucy Austin get there in the goal attack bib. Fantastic effort. Yeah, young Garrett being at the other end, but it shows what the effort she's been putting in.
I made a mental note. Tilly Garrett, the play before, she was putting on these big blocks, and I thought, I need to praise that, because it's not often you see a defender having such a good presence. Lucy Austin killing it in goal attack.
And look at the work that Thunderbirds are doing out the front. Giants are everywhere this time in defence. They're being told to clean that up, and you can see the pressure is lifted. But the work rate from Thunderbirds' attack, unfortunately, goes across the goal line.
Aiken George being very vocal under the post. She was demanding the ball before, wasn't delivered to her in the way in which she wanted. It's one of those funny things when your tall goal shooter needs the ball, you have to deliver it. So some question marks about the delivery.
And I would think that would get better as the season goes on, as these practice matches goes on, as they're learning. It's a very different feed to what they've dealt with with the likes of an Eleanor Cardwell they had last year.
Of course, Cardwell heading off to the Mavericks. A few different changes alongside assistant coach, now head coach Tracy Neville. Pittman just happy to let the ball go, get a deep breath into Singleton. Great delivery.
Go back to a really clear, easy setup, one-on-one. Work as the post, easy shot. That's exactly what you need. Confusion over the centre pass briefly. Jamie Lee Price absolutely knew it was hers. Super shot time now, though.
Pittman overlooking the baseline offer. That 1-point shot instead. Working around for 2. How's the scramble for the rebound? That is exactly the type of intensity you want to see from your mid-quarters.
Got to be in that supporting position, especially top of the circle. Where does the ball get hit out most of the time? It is right there. And beautiful finish. Did not look like missing on any part of that release from Singleton. Let's hope she looks at putting a few more of those up as this quarter continues.
The 2-goal margin quickly blowing out to 5. Thunderbirds happy to take their time and look for a 2-pointer in response until the real estate at the post is too tempting.
Yeah, very tempting. See Aiken on that initial one going, let's set up for a 2-pointer. You can see her saying, Austin, come round. Just couldn't quite get there. Settles for the one though, might as well keep the scoreboard ticking over.
Giants again, perhaps just learning off that same play, setting up for the 2, but when you've got someone free under the post, there's nothing like a secure 1 point to add to your score.
Especially when those long hands of Sterling Humphrey were right over that, what would have been the shot from Singleton.
Austin happy to deliver the ball into Aitken George on a millisecond of notice. Very confident ball.
And notice that defensive setup there from Ward and McDonald. They were working to really stop any chance of a 2-pointer. They're happy to almost give away the 1-pointer under the post.
Singleton having to bury her shoulder to get around Tilly Garrett, around that top of the circle. She'll give a contact call away.
Oh, just bounces in. Hesitation on the shot for a brief moment there.
Got some swing options and down the line options for the T-Birds. That middle channel not being used, and it won't be used because Winders comes up with the ball. Giants. They've held a 2-goal lead pretty much this whole quarter, and now just turning it on in super shot time.
And so she's been relatively quiet there, Winders, until that moment. But I say quiet and hasn't necessarily got a lot of intercepts or contests, but she's really been doing groundwork and trying to deny access.
Whew. Long arms from Garrett, but doesn't matter.
It was superb long arms from Garrett, and the finish was just superb.
Giants sending all players to the transverse, and that's the result that they were after.
Yeah, put doubt in the one pass, put doubt in the second pass, all of a sudden it does get forced.
T-Birds setting up more of a zone defence through the mid, trying to congest options and chew up that space, sending it back to 1-on-1.
That is a lovely finish there from Sophie Dwyer with the lefty that she is, really opening up her angle.
Giants very happy with how the last 3 minutes have played out. 9-goal margin now.
Well, ever since that timeout, really, isn't it? That they've stepped it up. They've really gone through. Oh, throws it off the leg. That's a miscommunication there. You can see Pittman just go, yep, my bad.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. Of course, with the change of rules, if a player's doing that out of court, they can be called for it if it's appearing too deliberate. So, interesting decisions. 52 on the clock. Dwyer taking the step in. She wants to create something with a sense of urgency. Call from the bench. You've got 45, but Giants so patient.
And so much time. 40 seconds is a ridiculous amount of time when it comes to netball. Time for 3-4 other goals if the ball is moved quickly enough. And expect that straight in release. Aiken should look at that 2-pointer. Nails it.
She really can shoot from anywhere. Aiken George. So strong in the pink dress. Pittman takes time at the transverse. The Giants have 5 seconds to get this one up, and they time it to perfection.
I've almost thought they've forced to end both quarters at this happened where Sophie Dwyer's been given the ball with probably about 5 seconds to go. If they've held off that ball for slightly longer, knowing that the rule has changed, you don't have to get the shot off and fully through the ring anymore before the siren and the whistle goes. If you've just released it, that goal still counts. So maybe working into a little bit more time, not having to force that one quite as much, could be an option there.
Hopefully plenty more buzzer beaters throughout the season, because of course Suncorp Super Netball does kick off on Saturday the 13th of April. And of course the Vixens are hosting their annual Fan Day at Federation Square on Thursday the 4th of April during the school holidays. So look forward to meeting the players, grab a photo or an autograph and watch the 2024 dress presentation and hear from players and coaches on the big stage. It's fun for all ages, lots of face painting, food trucks and activities. What are you looking forward to most, Matt? Are you going to get down and check out the face painting yourself?
Oh, look, I'm mad for a face paint myself. I cannot wait there to put, obviously, a fox on that face of mine.
Yes, speak of Fox, Foxy has been roading the stadium. There's so much to see here down at Selkirk Stadium. If you're wanting to come down tomorrow, of course, 2 matches today, 2 matches tomorrow, make sure you get your tickets because it is a sellout today. 3,000 fans packing Wendouree. So tomorrow, just about sold out as well. So make sure you get those tickets. It is halftime here. Giants leading the Thunderbirds by 9 goals. Not the right delivery, a little low, the hands to it, but she'll take the ball anyway.
And probably what they were expecting a bit more of there, the Giants, was that offload from Horges. She has put up a few shots early, and oh, the flying through. It was such a fantastic effort there from Latanya Wilson.
Read it so early, Wilson. Just the timing, not particularly perfect, but doesn't matter. T-Birds getting it anyway. And you can see George, she's hunting for that hold.
And if Jodie Ann Warden can't get up to that ball, I don't think anyone else can either.
Oh.
Aiken just going, oh, what happened to my hands there? I lost them. But all of a sudden, Thunderbirds are now 48, Giants 47. This is the first time they've led, I think, the entire game, if not since the very start of the game.
With 11 minutes on the clock, T-Birds will want to hold on to this, not let it go. The layup. Aiken George. These are really positive signs from the Thunderbirds, not only what they're doing on court, but the ability to dig in when they need to and show that they've got some fight in this, creating another turnover.
And they've made a couple of key changes that they could use throughout the year quite easily as well. You have a look at the likes of a Wilson going into the circle with Garrett spending some time now on the bench. Just provides a bit of a different option for them. Another flyer through it. And it's turning up ball for them, left, right and centre.
Horges sweeping the baseline. The work's in vain.
Yeah, Aiken George knew it as well as soon as she got called. You could see her frustrated with herself. She's on a bit of emotion, as she often does on court. Very passionate player.
Giants using 2 short balls in a row before Crampton. Looking for that middle drive, holds position at the top.
And how casual did Jamie Lee Price look in that passage of play? And that's kind of what we expect her at times. She managed to look casual while still actually working her absolute behind off, and as we saw earlier, obviously the shoe off as well.
Now, I can't tell if there was a contact in that or just a slide. The umpire is going to call for a towel regardless.
Yeah, our generous volunteers here on sweep up duty, we do appreciate all of their effort as well. It's been switched on with the little mop there, the Belita.
That's right, looking sharp in the Vixens merch, I might add, and if you're keen to get yourself your own t-shirt, available to fans here at Selkirk Stadium, you can pop into the merch shop and online at shop.melbournevixens.com.au.
And obviously don't forget about at all the home games, they'll be available as well. Get along to those if you can.
Crampton using the sideline. The pass is bowled down the mid and Thunderbirds lap it up.
That was terrific backup, wasn't it, from the captain, Shamira Sterling-Humphrey. She was right on top of it, managed to balance, and all of a sudden, Thunderbirds on a little bit of a roll, you would say.
Dwyer's deflection, not enough to change the flow of the ball. Aiken George on the hop. Price is calling time.
Yeah, calling the time for the timeout. She's indicating, I think we need just a moment. And Giants have called a few of these. They use them a little bit more than Thunderbirds. Thunderbirds, we absolutely stoked with the way they have started this quarter.
Coach Tanya Ott standing on the sidelines, and she looks pretty happy with this. Julie Fitzgerald, as we can see on screen, she's got a lot of words for the Giants girls.
And it'd always be such an interesting thing to be a fly on the wall. Julie Fitzgerald's talking. She's so passionate every way she delivers things, whether it's sideline, whether it's during the game, after a game. Very, very experienced coach in the New South Wales lineup there, Julie Fitzgerald.
It's her 8th season leading the Giants, premierships in 2017. Grand finals in 2017 and 2021, but more importantly, no premierships.
No, and she had tasted success before that when she's the old league Swift coach as well. But what a asset she has been to the Giants, and they're just coming up just shy a couple of times. We're interested to see how this outfit does during the season.
On the flip side, T-Birds breaking into their ends of the court. Just some really specific and targeted feedback to each grouping of positions.
And then coming together as a team just before, see a couple of smiles on the faces, some serious ones as well. They know they've come up to start this quarter very well and they want to continue that on.
So 9 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. T-Birds with the 2-goal lead. Of course, once we get to the 5-minute mark of this quarter, the super shot comes into play. So that's the 2-point shot, which is the outer side. We'll point out the markings on the court once we get there. An unlucky balance on the ball.
Yeah,
attempt.
trying their best to do everything to balance on that ball.
Let's check out the replay. Isn't it fantastic when a mid-quarter tries to just use that ball, because you're not going offside if it's just the ball touching the inside, but as soon as your body does, unlucky for all.
Yeah, it would have been a fantastic effort had she managed to hold on to it. But
Singleton doesn't want to take the shot, looks back out. Crampton fake and feed. Price not offering a punch. Instead, wants the swing. There's a lot of quiet efforts from the Giants.
And it has got quite quiet out on court compared to what it was earlier. As we see a lovely shot there, Dwyer. The voice has just dropped off that little bit. Thunderbird's gone a little bit quieter than we had expected.
And Winders, she comes onto court in that wing attack bib, just calling off Gina Crampton before.
Yeah, obviously wanting to try something slightly different there. Just a possibly miscommunication in style of play briefly there, but I think that'll really sort itself out as the season goes on. T-Birds get the turnover and immediate hands back.
Sliger, how's the effort? She is known for that relentless energy, but that was impressive.
And not only the initial effort, but then comes back for the give and go and second efforts across the other side of the court on attack.
She's such an athletic player. We know about her footy background, AFL. We know about her athletics background, but it's those efforts on the netball court that just show how quick she is off the mark.
Yeah, a bit of an ooh from the crowd. The crowd, obviously, anytime that someone hits the ground, like to get involved.
Of course, a sellout here in Wendouree, and the stands continue to get packed out. Vixens and fever after this match.
And that can lost herself for a minute there as the post got in the way after the contact. Still almost sunk it on that little attempt though.
Sliger really communicating with Price in his defensive setup. The mismatch of the wing defence taking the centre. Now Price goes back onto her direct opponent. So lots of comms between Sliger and Price to watch for.
And a good little draw there. Horges made Jodie Ann Ward come commit to her, which left Aitken in the tight one-on-one and the missed position.
T-Birds extending the lead to their match high 4 goals. And hot hands.
Latanya Wilson, we see that so often from her, don't we? And I would have said she had a quiet start to the game in wing defence, and then she's really found exactly what she needs to do, finding a lot more hands as this game has gone on. Oh, look at that baseline. Should I say goal line drive? Just says, surely there's a contact if I'm having to do a shot like that. No dice, says umpire Tim Marshall.
Gotta love the when you have an arm span that long, when you call an appeal to the umpire, it really does take up about half that third.
And you've got to pay attention to it, don't you, when she does that. But this is that pressure we talked about from Thunderbirds earlier. Look, the spatial stuff, they're having a hunt, they're going out, they're talking all of a sudden a lot more than they were for a good 2 minutes of this quarter, even though they're up by 4 goals.
So much noise off the T-Birds bench. Really excited knowing they've got the best back line in the country right now. Jumping all over that shot.
And the long offload. That's a clever little play, just getting it around from the mesh, but just need to clean up as it neared the attacking transverse.
Winders not struck by a lot of inspiration, having to look back. And that is the siren for the 5 minutes to go. So note that white semicircle If you're shooting outside of that, you'll get a 2-point added to the score, but not like that shot. That was just one. But if you're outside of that white line, 2 points to you.
And it was an interesting play there from Giants. They were really struggling to penetrate. We see another fantastic effort there from Sligo. They're really struggling to penetrate through the top of the circle. Would have liked to probably see a goaler come out through the middle before that, just to create something, create a bit of depth and a bit of width.
Sligo again trying to stay involved via the tip. And Thunderbirds, they've got enough composure to perhaps take this first practice match.
Yeah, enough composure at the right time of this match as well. They've taken advantage of when changes have happened. They've used their own quite well. Giants just struggled since halftime a little bit. It was that third quarter that really started to see them get pushed to the limit, and as you can see, Thunderbirds now up. That said, we have seen some fantastic two-pointers. This potentially another one. Not a good offload though.
Missed comms between Singleton and a missed shot. It's all right. She'll get it back.
And Singleton falling into a bit of a trap that happens to many people there, where you've got a really good shot blocker up against you, trying to step back a little bit too early. Footwork behind the line. I thought that was about to be called. Kate Wright does it. She'd stepped up with her right foot, then chose her left foot, and then moved them again. Footwork still does apply on throw-ins, something that people often forget.
That's some eagle-eyed analysis from Matt Blomley. And an eagle-eyed feed into Aiken George.
Well, it was eagle-eyed height, wasn't it, that it came down from. No one else has seen that from that height. And just letting them know, hey, go give that ball back. Aiken George says, yeah, no worries. I'll do that.
She's putting on one of the strongest holds from the top of the circle against two players, but you get the sense she'll be able to pull it in no matter the conditions, unless it's her teammates buggering things up outside of the circle.
And just resetting the penalty there, umpire Tim Marshall saying inside the circle, as the penalty came for Hoare, just trying to force it the way through. Just need a slight change of direction, hoping the contact was going to fall her way.
Winders looking for a lot of short ball. She struggled to get on the circle in the previous play just because there aren't people giving her anything. And
not giving her anything again, but who's there to back up? One, Jodie and Ward.
Again, let's see what Winders does. She's trying to hold the top of the circle. Price trying to find something. Perhaps some feedback from coach Julie Fitzgerald as the girls look to play again tomorrow. Of course, 2 days of action here at the Ballarat Blitz.
And this is the other thing we've got to take into account, is that these sides will be rotating players to a degree and using players and resting players at different points. Just on the contact there, that it's not often they genuinely play two games in a row like that in this level of competition, and just getting a little bit of a time call to reset the penalty. Much more confident shot from Singleton. Does rim out though.
Giants again hunting that 2-point shot. They're outside that white line. So that's going to count for two.
And they've got the centre pass here again. An opportunity to bring it to one. Over a minute to go.
Plenty of time, 1 minute in SSN. Anything can happen.
And you saw Dwyer going, oh, she's not giving the ball back. You threw it into her head yourself. Unfortunately, there, Soph. Bless your little cotton socks.
57 seconds. Shot falls short. T-Birds happy to take their time. They're 3 goals up. They don't need a goal.
They don't need a goal, but it'd be nice to get another one with this amount of time. Keep the attack going. It's good practice for when you just need that. Know when to hold it, know when to push forward, because it keeps that score just out of range when you've got the centre pass to come as well.
4 goals up, 24 seconds to go. T-Birds playing it back. The feed's going to be awesome into Aiken George. They don't need to rush. Unless they throw it away when you look back to the transfers.
But there's no goaler in the circle, not even for a two-pointer. Got to get a release here. And the long shot Another quarter that finishes with an attempt from Dwyer.
And that's the game. Thunderbirds have it by 4 here at the Ballarat Blitz. They were down all match, and it's that fourth quarter effort that sent them as winners of this match. The reigning premiers looking the goods by 4 goals against Giants Netball. Some really impressive performances all throughout the court, Matt Blomley. Who are you most impressed by?
Well, for the Giants, I can't go past Jodie Ann Ward. We mentioned her name so many times. She was in and amongst it at various points. I was quite happy with Tilly McDonald in that circle as well for most of the game. Obviously, she came off. But let's talk about the Thunderbirds and then what a role that Georgie Horges played, not just in the mid-court, but as she moved into goal attack and just created stuff for both herself and Aitken, who was also playing so unselfishly by drawing away. Wasn't all about her. There's a lot to take away from both sides from that, and no doubt when they come up against the next game's teams tomorrow, there'll be a little bit more to go for as well.
Of course, Aiken George new to the Adelaide Thunderbirds lineup this year. She's had a lot of experience at the Swifts. She's had a few different franchises that she's been a part of. A massive stalwart of the Firebirds lineup 2018 to 22. Are you expecting to see her be the central playmaker in terms of her setups at the Thunderbirds, or is there a bit more depth that we're going to see perhaps here at the Ballarat Blitz tomorrow for the T-Birds?
Look, I think the T-Birds will be using her clearly as a target, especially after an effort like that from today. We saw her moving quite well. We saw her providing a great target, but you've got an exciting duo there in Austin and Frew as well, which I think is great for the South Australian franchise, the Thunderbirds, that they're able to get the local products up at this next level.
Well, very exciting signs for both the T-Birds and the Giants as they head into a bit of R&R for the evening until their matches tomorrow. The Giants taking on Fever at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and the Vixens and Thunderbirds at 1 p.m. a little bit later. So no doubt both teams taking full advantage of all the things to do at Ballarat tonight, and perhaps a little bit of rest in amongst it before we get stuck into this afternoon's extra action of course, the Vixens against the Fever. It's a match-up for the ages. We've seen these two battle it out in grand finals, in one-point defeats. It's been such an exciting time in 2022, 2023. We'll have to see what they throw up in 2024. But a reminder that if you are a Vixens fan, that tickets to all Vixens home games are now on sale. So head to melbournevixens.com.au or Ticketek to book, and make sure you get your Vixens membership whilst you're there to come join the hunt in 2024. So plenty of SSN action because the season kicks off on Saturday the 13th of April. We're going to take a quick break, rest, reload and go again for the Vixens and Fever clash kicking off at 5 p.m.